Ready?
I could not be more ready.
I know you're not. I know you could not be more ready. So let's get into it, huh?
Let's go. It's week number 13. Hopefully, it's lucky number 13.
What would you like our luck to bring about? What would you like to cash in our luck on?
Well, we've got our new. Not gonna be too shabby about showing off any Markcast hats.
We have finally solved, I think, the problem with the hats.
If you're watching the video version, you got to admit this looks sick, right?
It looks good. It looks good. I'm glad they finally gave us a quality product. It's been what I would say.
Forever.
13 weeks.
Yeah,
it's been about 13 weeks since we started doing this process of the hat production. So it looks good. It's got the XFL Markcast logo on front. On the side, it's got another XFL logo, and on the other side, the Real Talk Homie logo. For the network that we're on. You can get them now. Well, we can almost get them now. We'll probably put them up maybe within the next week.
Yeah.
Just to make sure everything is fine. Yeah. We'll put them up within the next week and we'll be ready to go with that. So anyway, like I said, looking great.
Thank you for your patience. Yeah. We finally got through it. We had the story last week was, the logo was bad. We had issues with it. We redesigned the whole logo. Then they printed it. It was off-centered. We went through that whole thing, had lots of laughs. And then last week, we didn't have time to get into it. They actually melted the front of the hat. And so it came to me, and I'm like, it kind of looked weird. And I was like, well, it's cold outside. Maybe it's been kind of cold in the hat box, what's ever going on. And then the next day, I'm like, no, this hat is like definitely melted. And so I emailed her, our rep, and she goes, oh, yeah, they applied too much heat. Like, it's definitely melted. And I'm like, but you still put it in the box and shipped it knowing that. Like, you signed off on this and sent it.
Where's the quality control there?
So we got it, xflshow.com/merch. We got all the other stuff. I know Alan Chitlick, my friend, bought a shirt. I appreciate that. And then we got some reviews to get into too real quick before we get into all the news, if that's cool.
Yeah, you got all the reviews. So how are we looking on that?
We're really good. And we've had a lot come in this week. Remember, we're still doing, you can get your free mask. You get a white mask or a gator. Actually, all of these have just come in from the niceness of people's hearts, which I appreciate. I mean, you can certainly just leave us a review as well if you enjoy the podcast. But we did have these all come in this week, and I don't think we shipped out any new masks. So DM me if you want one. But otherwise, we just really appreciate the support. Again, this is just, if you're an XFL fan, we're talking TSL today. We got James Larsen coming on, talking, the Spring League. And so, if you're a fan of that and the content, just feel free, leave us a review, xflshow.com/review. Again, if you're an XFL fan, we've got the Tasman. He says, XFL, great show and funny. Keep it up. And thanks for keeping it alive. We've got Outsider. These guys are the best. Great show and great dudes. I wish I found this podcast sooner. Well, there you go.
We only went for 13 weeks. Can't hold that against you.
Yeah, right. Kenny Stevenson, I posted this one on Twitter. He goes, great podcast. These guys claim the Jousters as their team from the Spring League without even seeing the team play a game. Gotta love it. And that is unsolicited. That just came in. Anonymous DJ, glad I ran across this podcast because it's very good. Make sure to share it with your friends. They are missing out. And then finally, Matt Lyons, friend of the show. He's a writer too. Great show and great dudes. Really fun guests all the time too. James will be included in that as a fun guest. These guys are just as excited as I am for the XFL. Do yourselves a favor and check out this podcast ASAP. And he threw in a Go Dragons, which is good. So again,
which is good for you, not good for me. So
XFLshow.com/review if you are a fan of the XFL and the Spring League, and we hope to keep growing, and we just appreciate all the support. Makes me feel good when I wake up in the morning.
We definitely do. We definitely do appreciate the support.
When I wake up in the morning and get those reviews, I get a little email from ratethispodcast.com, and it makes me happy. So
again, if you I guess it's xflshow.com/review or ratethispodcast.com/XFL.
All goes to the same place. You're welcome. You're welcome, technology.
Yes, that's great. I also want to say that when James comes on, I'm going to let you kind of steer the conversation because I've been out of the loop because I've been covering the election stuff. I've been really out of the loop with TSL this week. It's been a hectic week, of course. As we record this, we still don't know who the president is, which is crazy to me, but this is the world we're living in right now. So I've been out of the loop. I'm going to let you drive that conversation with James. hopefully I can engage somewhat. We'll see how it goes later on in the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this will be a lot of stuff going on. This is politics free. This is just XFL Spring League. And I appreciate James coming on and we had him, chatting stuff just because I know that it's so crazy with everything going on in your work. So I appreciate him coming on to talk about the Spring League.
Yep. So with that being said, let's start the show. The big news I think that we need to talk about is how PJ Walker made it onto an NFL field. What you had that look on your face like I'm spoiling like the goose that laid the golden egg.
We cannot win. We record on Thursday last week. It was a huge inconvenience to get Jay on. Not inconvenience to get Jay on, but an inconvenience to do it on Thursday. We go, this episode is going to be fresh, hot out of the oven content coming out Friday morning. What happens Thursday night? PJ Walker comes in and plays. Can't win. Yep. We can't win.
Cannot win at all. Of course, his former head coach at Temple is the Matt Rule. Is he the offensive coordinator for the Panthers, or is he I think he's the offensive coordinator for the Panthers. Of course, they have a relationship. PJ Walker and him have a relationship. We hope Teddy Bridgewater's okay. But it was interesting, when this was all going down after I had already edited the episode and published it and sent it to the server. I went to work and then Reed texts me. He's like, and I was right in the middle of something very important. And Reed's like, "Oh my God, PJ Walker, my feed's blowing up." Talk about what were you watching this as it went down?
Yeah, we were. And this is honest to God, true hand to God. Mike Mitchell, friend of the show. He's a writer. He always posts on Twitter that he watches all the NFL games anyway, but he always watches the ones that have the XFL players. And I've been watching the Panthers play for a while now. And I told Dorothy, I go, there's always a chance that Teddy Bridgewater is going to go down. PJ Walker is going to come in. They've kind of been doing the flippy flop with who the backup QB is week to week. But now it seems like it's PJ Walker. Dorothy and I are standing, eating dinner at the kitchen island. And I tell you, PJ Walker came in and it went as viral as anything could ever go with my tiny little Twitter account. But I had Dorothy's dad was texting me. Alan, friend of the show that bought a shirt, was texting me. Twitter was it was crazy. It was insane. Yeah. Very, very, very big news.
It's almost Disney-esque. It's almost Disney-ish, like a Disney film. Like you get this guy that's a quarterback in this B league. It gets shut down because of COVID, and then he finds his way to make it into an NFL game and probably established himself as the backup quarterback in Carolina. And we've seen this before, where backup quarterbacks end up becoming, the starters. That's a possibility. So we'll see what happens. For sure.
And forgive me, I don't know the name of the wide receiver that he was throwing the touchdown pass to, because PJ came in and his first pass was like just this. It was like a Russell Wilson moon ball. I know they drive that into the ground, but right into the end zone, and like my world stopped. And I thought, man, if PJ Walker's going to come in and throw a TD pass on his first play in an NFL game, would have been crazy. But he played for like 2 sets, and then they put in Teddy Bridgewater again, and that was about the end of that. And then the world kept on spinning.
And according to recent updates, Teddy Bridgewater is suffering from a neck injury, which means it's going to keep him out for probably, you would say, for safety issues, 6 to 8 weeks you're looking at. And I know the Panthers weren't probably expecting to do much in terms of that division. I mean, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, of course, who are, rolling right now. They had a great comeback win this week. You also have the Saints, who are always in the mix there in the NFC South. So I really don't see an avenue for the Panthers to get above and get into the fray, because, I mean, look at it. The Bucs are probably going to win the division. The Saints are probably going to finish second. And then you have to contend with everybody in the NFC West, who is at least 500. At least 500 right now. The NFC West is the toughest division in football. So you have to figure that at least 3 of the playoff teams are coming from the NFC West. So Carolina really has nothing to lose here if they just want to roll with PJ Walker for the entire season.
I just Googled too. I mean, I didn't know that Bridgewater was still out. I thought that he was back good to go. That's surprising.
But he practiced on Wednesday and he fully participated, but it's a neck injury. They might probably sit him out still. So it's a neck injury. You don't want to play with neck injuries. You don't want to play with head injuries, especially after the kind of hit that Bridgewater took. It was a cheap hit. It really was a cheap hit. So hopefully the best for him, but This might be a situation where you just go, F it. Let's see what goes on. Let's see what happens. Let's roll PJ Walker out there and see what he can do.
Are you saying Dumb and Dumber that there's still a chance?
There's always a chance.
There's always a chance.
Always a chance.
I'll tell you, just talking about I watched the Buccaneers game on Monday. That Tom Brady is the most interesting man in the entire world, I have to say. I tweeted a couple of videos that you of him slamming his helmet into the bench. And then there was like this 15-second clip of they were either going to break or coming out of break. And he was like blowing his nose with like this Gatorade towel. And I'm like, I mean, he's just like, it's just the most interesting creature to watch. This guy, 43, probably the most talented quarterback ever, and it's just a weird dude.
Have we settled the debate on who helped who? Have we settled that debate between Belichick and Brady now?
I think so. Yeah. What do you?
I think we have. You know, they keep saying that Brady succeeded in Belichick's system because he's a system quarterback. Well, it helps when the system is actually Tom Brady. That's the way I'm looking at it now, is like Belichick is a good coach, probably one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach of all time. I will say that. But would he have been the greatest coach of all time without Brady? Now that's the question I have to ask. That's the kind of thing that we have to like entertain.
Yeah, no,
you have to realize that Belichick was fired in Cleveland. Like, Belichick's been fired before. People had Belichick as their head coach. And I know Cleveland's a dumpster fire, but people have had Bill Belichick as their coach before, and he has been let go. So, you know, maybe the system is Tom Brady and not the other way around.
Well, he was yelling and screaming, and he loves like yelling at the guy, and especially when there's no fans. Like, you can really hear him on the field, like, come on! You're like, what is happening, Tom? Calm down.
He's wired. You love to see it. You love to see it at his age. He's still got the passion for the game, and you know, he's probably going to go another 2 years. I see it. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, so moving on. What did you want to talk about next?
Do you want to talk about Danny Garcia celebrating Halloween? That was kind of cute.
I saw it. I saw the pumpkin. That's cool, little carved pumpkin that she celebrates. She is like probably the biggest XFL mark in the world right now. We're not saying that like a bad thing, but we're like, she is more gung ho about the XFL than Reed is, and that's probably the reason why they purchased this league, was because she is clearly the enthusiastic one about it. She clearly wants to make a name for herself. And we've said it before. We don't want to refer to her as the Rock's ex-wife. That crap is stupid.
Not gonna do it.
She wants to make her own name, and she is making her own name. And this is cool. This is cool to see.
Danny, you know, all marks are welcome here on the Markcast. If you want to come on and chat some XFL, happy to have you. Happy to have you come on. But no, I thought that was cute. I was live streaming a Halloween wedding, and I saw that kind of going on my Twitter, and I thought that was cute. You know, it's like we try to do here on the Markcast, just keep it in the lexicon, keep it on going. And Danny posting that and getting however many freaking, you know, billion Twitter followers, 1,000 whatever stuff. It's good. So
it's definitely a culture thing for her. It's like, you know, she's building a culture here, and it's working for sure. So
she did that she posted that, and that she posted like one of those, how did it start? How's it going things? And it was like the drawing of the XFL, and then she's on it. I mean, she's savvy. Yep. She's social media savvy. So
definitely.
It was good.
We want to jump back to former quarterbacks of the XFL. And I saw that, of course, we talked about Jordan Tamu being let go from the Kansas City Chiefs, from the practice squad. It was clear that they really didn't need him. I mean, barring any injuries to Patrick Mahomes, which we don't want to see. And I've said it numerous times, I think Kansas City is going back to the Super Bowl this year. Jordan Tamu needed a place to land, and apparently he's got what's the update on that? Is he with the practice squad for the Detroit Lions? Or
so Mike Mitchell reported that Tamu had a tryout today with the Lions. The Lions are kind of a mystery to me. I don't really follow that whole. I don't know. I'm not super knowledgeable about the Lions. What do you know about them, Paul? I'm kind of a West Coast, and then, you know, I stand Brady, and that's about it. But
I mean, but I want to say in that division, of course, you know, you always got to look at Green Bay as the team to topple, basically, and you know. Detroit's in the mix. They're 3-4 right now. Chicago's there at 5-3. Of course, I don't really see a solid Detroit team going any further than what they're going right now. There's the kind of team that's going to lose a bunch of games probably down the pipeline. So this is not really anything, that's going to change their season, because they have to, of course, overcome Green Bay, and that's just not going to happen. I mean, if you move Detroit to the NFC East, then they'd have a chance, because like the number one team in the NFC East still has a losing record.
Yeah.
And the second place team is 2-5. This is just, but I just don't see any situation where, I don't know, maybe it's Detroit. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, give him a chance. I mean, it was a sad day. He got released from the Chiefs, and people have been watching that. He's got to try out with the Lions. I mean, and we'll get into this too with the Cowboys and their quarterback talent. But I tell you, I just don't get. I've been listening to a lot more sports talk and them talking about like Nick Foles and the Bears and like all these different quarterback problems. And we're going to have James on and talking about the spring league and all this. I mean, there's a lot of good talent out there, and like Jordan Ta'amu, and that you're going with these guys, like even back with Andy Dalton, and everyone said, we know what Dalton's going to do. He comes out, he gets hurt. We hope he's okay. But like, a lot of these guys and what they're going to do. So why would you not try to bring in somebody else, some new blood? I mean, what do you have to lose at this point? We're halfway through the season. I mean, if you're going to lose, start building for next season, right?
And I will have to say this did come down yesterday. Of course, the Lions are one of the teams that are being affected by COVID. They have a player that's on the COVID list, and they also added one not too long ago to the COVID list. We're talking about Matthew Stafford, the quarterback for the Detroit Lions, is now on the COVID list. He was in close contact with the non-team member who tested positive for COVID. So this is the second time Matthew Stafford has been on the COVID list.
Are we going to record today, and then are they going to announce like Ta'amu is starting for the Lions tomorrow?
Probably. Given our luck with the situation, they'll probably announce in like an hour after we're done recording that Ta'amu is going to start for Detroit this week. So that would be just our luck for that to happen.
What do you think his stats would be hypothetically if he plays this weekend? Like, what would be decent starting for, two TDs? He takes him to the win right at the end, throws.
I don't think he even needs to take him to the win. Who is Detroit playing this week? Are they playing anybody this week? Because that's the problem, is like, it's nice to try to keep up on the schedule and figure things out, but the schedule's always all over the place because of COVID.
They're playing the Vikings. I mean,
the Vikings. Yes, they're playing the Vikings.
I take Ta'amu and the Lions over the Vikings right now.
I would take that too, because the Vikings they're terrible. They're terrible right now as well. So I really think that maybe it's a situation where Ta'amu comes in, gets at least 50% of his passes completed. That'd be a good number. Maybe throws a couple touchdowns. He's probably going to throw one pick. Maybe a line where it's like 9 for 17, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 178 yards.
And he ran in that crazy TD at the end, buzzer beater. I'm just trying to give us some stuff, and then if he does play this week, then I'm going to clip this out and I'm going to post it.
Then we're going to go buy lottery tickets, and life will be great.
Yeah, but let's say so. Ta'amu runs it in at the end, diving touchdown score over the Pack.
I call it that's over the Vikings, not the Pack.
No, but over the hump of guys, when they dive over the thing. Yeah, diving at the end zone. Yes.
Over the line of scrimmage. Got it. Okay.
I will say one quick note. I posted the other day, we did our fan-controlled football thing. It got a lot of good feedback. Fan-controlled their account, retweeted it, and they they follow us now and everything. Go back last week if you want to listen to that, Twitch, and you can vote on football games. It sounds interesting. They're getting ready to launch in February. But I posted that in one of the Facebook groups, and this guy, because I think I made a joke on there, like, well, I don't really watch sports, because the joke is I'm an XFL fan, right? That's the joke. And this guy comments, he goes, this guy doesn't listen to sports. Why should I listen to this show? And I just wrote back, I said, for our charming personality and good humor.
Was he talking about you or me?
Well, me, because I was the one that made the joke. I mean, it was a jab at me.
You're not as you haven't been watching sports as long as I'm not trying to gatekeep on you right here.
No.
You've admitted that,
yes.
And we both admitted that. We know that. So it's just who cares? He's getting into it now. Why? That crap is so stupid. It's really annoying.
Also, this is the XFL Markcast. It's not the fan-controlled football sports expert phenomenon. Yeah. Okay,
simmer down, people. Yeah. Simmer down.
Anyway,
Let's brighten the mood in here. After we take a break, let's bring in James Larsen to chat about the TSL.
How's it going, sir?
Hey, can you guys hear me all right?
You sound great. Thanks for hopping on.
All right. How you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for making time today. I know you're running around with classes and work and everything else, so thanks for doing that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's been pretty busy, but yeah.
So we got you on. You reached out. You wanted to talk about Spring League. I watched the games yesterday. The Jousters are kicking off right now. I think they're probably going to lose. I don't think we need to speculate too much about that when we do the podcast. But I have my own takeaways from yesterday, but what were your takeaways from watching the games?
Well, yeah, I got to catch most of both games in between everything. I had some internet issues, which was annoying. But both games were really good. I'm really surprised with how exciting all 3 televised games have been so far. Back in week 1, the Generals Conquerors game was great. And then the 2 games yesterday, Blues and Aviators came down to the wire. Alphas and Conquerors came down to the wire. Both games were really exciting all around in general, in my opinion. One thing that was kind of funny was there was a decent amount of just like interesting things that went down, which, the whole fight with between McMillan and the Alphas coach and Dwayne Wallace. I was disappointed to see Dwayne Wallace. I mean, he got ejected and then he was back in the game, so I don't know what was going on with that. But besides all that crazy stuff, it was fun to watch. Yeah,
that was my thing was, and obviously there was the big fight at the end with Justin McMillan and the Alphas coach. And the whole time I'm watching this game and I'm thinking, okay, this is for players to get tape. This is for players. And this is kind of where I wanted to get. I know Paul's been crazy busy working and that's totally fine. I mean, I sent the clip for Paul to see of the big scuffle at the end of the Alphas game or the Conquerors game. And it's just crazy to me that these guys have national television exposure, right? The whole point is to play to get reps. And yeah, the first game, you have a guy thrown out, punching a guy, ejected from the game. And then they obviously brought him back in because of, I guess they just literally didn't have enough players, right, to fill out the teams. You had a penalty for a player spitting on another player. I mean, this is COVID-19.
Yeah.
Spitting on another player, 15-yard penalty. And then at the end of the game, you had McMillan going and, Justin McMillan, the Conquerors QB, and there was the, like the fumble, the pass, whatever. And he literally goes and jumps on the guy. And I know he got pulled. I mean, what did you think of all that? What did you think of all the different fights and scuffles and then ultimately the McMillan fight at the end?
It was pretty crazy. The one thing that disappointed me that I think the most, maybe not the most, but up there was the spitting thing. Because, I mean, come on. Like, especially with COVID going on, like, what in the world are you thinking? And that was also Dwayne Wallace, I believe, who was a former LA Wildcat who was in the XFL. So just to me, it's disappointing to see someone like him do that. He had the opportunity in the XFL. Now he's getting an opportunity in the Spring League. Like, why? What's the point of doing that? No good comes from that. And again, it's not even like he's at the NFL level yet. It's not even like he's in the XFL. This is the Spring League strictly for film, so he'll eventually get picked up maybe by an NFL team or worse come to worse in 2022 by the XFL. When players have make actions like that, it just makes people like, I don't want that sort of attitude on my team. So yeah, I didn't understand that at all. And that one disgusted me the most. McMillan, there was no need for him to really jump into that, but he did get pulled into it. So, I mean, when tensions are high, when you got emotions going like crazy, I've been in football games before, not really games like that, but football games where things get heated. And then, you're in the game, your adrenaline's going, and you're like, man, I'm angry. But still, you got to learn how to control those things and, just not let that happen. Because now on national TV, McMillan hasn't even done much in the Spring League. I think the biggest thing that's going to come out from that is that fight for him. So
it's interesting because these athletes are actually paying to play to get film, and it's like you're investing in yourself and you're blowing your own investment by doing these types of things.
Yeah, McMillan had, and I mean, just from I did not think McMillan had a good game. I know that he had got put in right at the second half. I think they were doing the split, the split with the QBs for the Conquerors. And, it was a lot of running. It was a lot of panicking. It was a lot of I just didn't see a lot of good play. And then it kind of ended with that. I thought, man, dude, you are, again, we're after the election on FS1/FS2 on a Wednesday night. I mean, whatever. But the tape from that and it went. I was telling Paul before we went on. I mean, it went as viral as a TSL game could on FS1 the night after the election. I mean, it was a big deal.
Like that was pretty much all the TSL talk, which of course is not that big, especially compared to the XFL. But yeah, as you said, for the spring league, it went about as viral as it could have gone. That was like just the main takeaway from last night. So,
what did you think of the Aviators with the Blues? I thought that was a great game down to the wire. We had a walk-off punt return in overtime. I mean, this was like everything that you could want from, a B League kind of spring football game. I mean, what did you think about it?
Oh, I thought it was great. It reminded me of the XFL. Of course, it's not on the XFL level, and the spring league reminds me of like a mesh of the alliance of American football and the XFL. Maybe probably because we have both coaches and players from both leagues. But I am really impressed with the quality of play, considering these guys had 2 weeks to practice with each other, barely that. I mean, and the thing is, I know I've seen a lot of people on like Twitter or just on Reddit and stuff like that, and they've been like, "Oh, this isn't the XFL. Like, this is boring. This is not a good quality football." And I'm like, well, it's not like the spring league is necessarily trying to be great football. They know they're not going to be incredible, and as on the other hand, with the XFL, they were trying to put out a really phenomenal football product. Meanwhile, the spring league exists to be like, we're going to take these guys that might just have a messy career. We're going to take these guys that might not be the best athletes, might not get looks from other people. We're going to give them a chance to be in a spotlight, and we'll see what they do. I mean, it's probably going to be messy, but there might be some guys that make good plays. We saw Blues and Aviators, that punt return at the end to finish the game off. That was a really, really exciting play, and it was the guy that he took advantage of his spotlight. I think it was a Saxton or something like that on the return. And
yeah, Matthew Sexton, walk-off punt return. I mean, I was trying to explain it to my wife. I'm like, this would probably never happen in the NFL, right? I mean, he dodged 2 tackles and made a run for it. But, in the heat of the moment, it's exciting to watch, that you had Sato, the field goal kicker, right, had missed 2. And I want to talk to you about the struggles of kicking 2 with the spring league. But, he had missed 2 field goals. The announcers are talking, it came from Japan to get tape and all this stuff, ends up nailing the 3rd field goal, takes the Aviators to overtime, right? And then the Blues, 3 and out, the Aviators take over, punt return in. I mean, it's just like, you couldn't write it any better for just like this, Wednesday afternoon. I'm just sitting on the couch watching this, right?
I thought that they
go for it.
Go ahead.
What did you think of that?
Yeah, I thought that.
Sorry, we're talking over each other. I'll let you go.
What I was going to say quick was just, I thought that overall the 2 games from yesterday, they were really exciting, and honestly more exciting than some of the games that we saw in the Alliance and the XFL. Overall, there was a decent amount of scoring. There was lots of offense and defense. And again, yeah, it's going to be messy. It's going to be scrappy. You're going to see some guys just make some plays, and you're like, why is he out there on the football field? But again, that's the reason why the spring league exists, to try to develop these guys that might have some raw talent that need to be polished up, so then they get a chance in the NFL, the XFL, the CFL, or whatever.
I'll tell you, Bethel Thompson, QB with the Aviators. I tweeted that he's got John Moxley vibe. Paul knows about John Moxley, wrestler. I mean, he's talking to the cameras as we're going to break. I think he dropped an F-bomb that one of the cameras caught. They ended up having to cut him. But a funny guy, walks with the swagger, delivered. I mean, the Aviators, in this thrilling overtime, I just think, this is the kind of personality, right? The fear with the XFL was always, well, how can you build a league? We don't have big names. We got to get big names. We got to get all these people. That's somebody. I mean, I watched one game with him, and I'm all in on him, right? I think just as not only as a talent, but as a personality that you could build, ratings around. What do you think about him?
Oh, I thought it was great. First of all, he played a great game. Some of the throws that he made, I mean, he was very confident in the pocket. That one touchdown to Hardaway, which is an absolute dime. That was just a perfect pass. And definitely the type of guy that I could see playing in the XFL. I know he was in the CFL for a while. He did pretty well there. Maybe he'll go back to the CFL. I don't know. But I'm really glad that he took the opportunity with the Spring League. Just seeing guys like him play was great. And yeah, the personality factor is just so much fun. It makes it more enjoyable to watch. He is the type of guy that definitely would fit in with the XFL. But yeah, that was pretty funny. And then he's just talking. Yeah, he was talking to the live mic. on national TV, just like, look, guys, this is football. It gets heated. I'm sorry. Like, but he's like, that's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, last week we had the Generals and the Conquerors. That was the only game that was televised. This week we had two. And I mean, it was halfway through the game, and I knew a lot of these players. I knew a lot of the personalities. I knew a lot of the stuff. I thought the announcers, like I said, with Sato and the kicking, being able to come back. I mean, this is a really minuscule stakes, right? But it's still, you're able to get invested in all of this. And I just think it speaks volumes for a lot of these guys moving to the XFL and hopefully, bigger and better things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and what you mentioned with Fox, they've been doing a really good job broadcasting this as well, I think. I love Fox broadcasting. I thought Fox was the best broadcaster for the XFL back through their games. And ESPN did good too, but Fox, I don't know. I love Brock Hewitt. I love the other guys that are announcing there. They just have really great. It's just fun. It's just fun watching Fox broadcast. There's really no other way to put it. But yeah.
What do you think of the kicking issues plaguing everybody? Extra points, field goals. I mean, I think it's just lack of reps. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's up and down, and the kickers and the punters that are in this league, not only do they have a lot of pressure, but at the same time, they also, like, there's so much that goes into kicks that we really don't realize. Like, just everything just from the snapper to the holder, like, you need to build a lot of chemistry together to get everything down. Like, it's not just the kicker. You have the long snapper, you have the holder involved, you have the people blocking, and all of that is mentally messing with the kicker's head. So when you doing this with people for just 1.5 weeks, it makes it difficult to get into it. Meanwhile, the NFL kickers, of course, they missed field goals and stuff too, but they're practicing with these guys for months and months and months and months. It's like they're just on automatic. Meanwhile, you just got thrown into this league, brand new holder, brand new snapper. You don't know any of these guys, and you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if you have confidence in them to make a good snap, to make a good hold. We've seen up and down kicking. I thought Matt Mangle has been playing phenomenal. That guy killed that 53-yarder. He's been the most impressive one for me so far.
Absolutely. Well, another impressive guy I want to talk about, and this relates back to our podcast, JT Barrett, the Alphas QB. They were doing his rundown, and they were saying that he actually split playtime with Cardell Jones, and I can't remember which practice squad it was. And I publicly apologized on Twitter for everybody that JT Barrett, as a famously anti-Sharman Jones podcast, that JT Barrett would ever have to split playing time ever with Cardell Jones. What did you think of JT Barrett?
Oh, I thought he played a great game, and I know, he really struggled in week one. We didn't really obviously we didn't get to see much of that because it wasn't televised, which also is another thing. Like, just come on, stream it on YouTube. But anyways, he really bounced back this week, and I think he showed that he can be a leader. He moves in the pocket so well. He's got great just pocket presence and awareness. And some of the throws he made were absolutely phenomenal. I know he threw 2 interceptions towards the end of that game, but one of them was definitely not his fault. The receiver fell down. The other one was just a poor decision trying to force it into the end zone. I didn't like that throw, but overall, a couple of those throws to Bug Howard, who also he played a phenomenal game. And just overall,
Bug, great name, Bug.
I know. But yeah, overall, I think JT Barrett put together some great film last night, and he should be proud of what he did.
Yeah, I think except for McMillan, I think all the QBs should be incredibly proud. I know Paul and I are going to get into this more on the podcast. Cowboys have been struggling with, QBs. We've got, they're talking about having AAF guy, Garrett,
yes,
come in and do that. Well, what do you think about that? Well, we have you on. What do you think about Garrett playing for the Cowboys?
Oh, I hope he gets to start. I'd love to see him get back in. I love seeing him in the Alliance. He's just such a great quarterback. I think he's got a lot of talent, and I think he's been overlooked. And I think he's been overlooked after the Alliance. Look what he did there. He just ripped through every single defense week in and week out. They were 7-1. They would have easily won the championship. Unless somehow, some way, there was some defense. I don't see how any defense could really stop that offense. Between Gilbert and Charles Johnson and those guys, they were phenomenal. So I hope he does well in Dallas. I wish him the best. And I hope he gets to start.
Yeah, after watching Danucci last week, I can't think of anyone that was playing in any of the games yesterday that could do a worse job about that. Paul's got his own thoughts about Danucci too.
Yeah,
he's just very green. I don't know. I know that he had great. Yeah, he bent the ball and one. I saw the pass where he was bending the ball, and I know he's at what was it, James Madison University? James Madison has been a perennial, them in North Dakota State in 1AA ball, or FCS as they call it now. They've been perennial like powerhouses there. So maybe there's something to the kid. I just think he needs a lot more work.
James, we're looking before we let you go. Looking to next week, we've got finally our jousters are going to be taking on the Alphas. I'm a little scary about that on Tuesday, and then we have the Blues and the Generals on Wednesday. What are you looking at? What are you hoping to see? What do you? I know you're going to be following everything for the newsroom. What do you want to see?
Well, I just hope that we continue to see what we've been seeing pretty much through the first couple of weeks. I mean, again, the 3 televised games that we've seen so far have been great. They've been exciting. They've been close, and hopefully they can keep up that style of play. I'm especially looking forward to the Blues and the Blues and Generals. I think are playing, right?
Yeah, it's the Blues and the Generals, and then the Alphas and the Jousters on Tuesday. So we've got Tuesday at 5 Pacific prime time, and then the Blues and Generals on Wednesday. Yeah,
Blues and Generals, I think, is going to be a great game. It's going to be because we've got like the 3 or 4 teams that are really good between the Blues, the Aviators, the Alphas who are getting better, and I'd say even the Conquerors look pretty good. But then you've got the Jousters just really are a mess. I mean, at least from what we could tell from week 1. I'm sorry, Paul. I'm sorry. And see, I was going to root for the Jousters, but once I found out Quentin Flowers was not going to be there, I was just like, I'm not even really rooting for any teams. With these sorts of leagues, I'm just more like, I'm just going to root for everybody. I want all these guys to do as good as they can possibly do because I'm just rooting for every one of them. So.
I think we got dealt a bad hand with Quentin Flowers. I think it would have been a totally different game if we had gotten him on there. One thing, too, before I let you go, the Conquerors, you have Jared Glanville, sorry, and you have him coaching, right? The Conquerors have had both primetime games. Josh Davis, a friend of the show, he's rooting for the Conquerors. He's covering them. They're 0-2. I mean, they can't, we've got fights on the sidelines. I mean, what's the deal? I feel like the Spring League really thought that they were going to be a powerhouse team, right? We got them with the big coach. We got June Jones doing some stuff with them and everything. I mean, what's the deal with the Conquerors?
I mean, I watched both games that the Conquerors have played, and I think it's just a matter of execution, especially at the end of games. They put themselves in positions to win both of those games, and they just fell apart. I think the first game, especially against the Generals, that one was messy, and they still almost came back. I mean, you had Yarbury make some ridiculously athletic plays. But I don't like. I know that this league is about giving everybody opportunities, but Kevin Anderson is a way better quarterback than McMillan, and I don't know why the heck they keep putting in McMillan, because every time they do, they stall out, and then they lose the game. I mean, they started the game down 16-0 because of McMillan. They come back, and then they put McMillan back in, and he lost the game for them against the Generals. Then last night, same thing. They're beating the Alphas 14-6. McMillan goes in, and next thing you know, the Alphas are up by 5 points or something like that. So I don't understand. And Anderson, I mean, some of those passes that he threw were really phenomenal. He dropped a couple dimes in the bucket. But yeah, I'm surprised the Conquerors are 0-2 when you consider all the XFL talent that they have. You got Nick Hawley, you've got Dan Williams, you've got all these different guys, you got all the XFL coaches between Glanville and I think June Jones left the Spring League, but he was there last week, and I know Kevin Gilbert is coming in. I don't know if he came in yet.
Yeah, I didn't see him on the side. I know he's supposed to be coming in.
I remember the announcers were like, "Oh yeah, we see Kevin Gilbert," and then they just showed Jerry Glanville. I was like, "Oh, I guess he's not there yet."
I think Anderson way better. I mean, I get that it's the pay to play and that you want to give everybody equal reps, and that's what Josh Davis. I mean, he'll preach about it. I've been tweeting. They're paying. You got to give the reps, but they've stalled out a lot now. The Conquerors, and they just haven't been doing good with McMillan.
Yeah, they have not. I mean, maybe involve McMillan in like just a play here and there, like a trick play, but like he's not starting QB material. I mean, he's playing horrible in the Spring League, which has a lot of guys that are not very experienced. So I think that kind of says something about him. I don't see him ever getting a chance to start a football team, XFL, NFL, whatever, because he's just not playing well. Maybe he'll change. Maybe he'll surprise me over the next 2 weeks, but Kevin Anderson's playing a lot better.
Well, thank you so much again for coming on and talking this. I appreciate you reaching out. I will just say, Guys, clean. I mean, I know people are going to be listening to this, and I've been tweeting a lot of TSL guys. I mean, we got to clean this up. I mean, this is not a good look, I think, for a lot of this stuff. At the beginning, I said, with the spitting and the penalties and stuff. I mean, you're on a national platform, and you're looking to get, it's your future here, and you got to figure this stuff out. And this is not a good look. And that the fact that the biggest thing we had about the primetime game last night was this fight with McMillan and the coach is really not a good look.
Not at all. And yeah, it's kind of crazy because there were a couple really big plays like last night. They got kind of overlooked because of the whole McMillan fight.
Yeah. Well, James, thank you so much again. Do you want to plug anything before we let you go?
I mean, I write for the XFL Newsroom. I also write for the Brawl Network. And I've just been following the TSL, the XFL, of course. So if you guys want to go give me a follow on Twitter at James Larsen MI, that's where you can see all my stuff and hear my opinions about these sorts of things that we just talked about. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for having me on. It was a lot of fun, and looking forward to listening to this episode.
Awesome. Thanks, man. You killed it. Have a good one. Good luck with everything today.
You too. Thank you.
Awesome.
You guys have a great rest of your day.
Jim.
There we go. We did it again. Week 3 for 3. We're going to have a no edits. We're going to drop that episode or the interview in with James. I thought he was great. He messaged me. He said, thanks so much for having on. He says, he messaged me. He goes, he should have worn his XFL Markcast mask on the podcast, but that probably would have been a little difficult to do the interview. But James has left us a review for the Markcast. We appreciate that. xflshow.com/review. But thanks, James, for talking the spring league. And if you're a fan of the league, reach out to us. We're always loving to get more insights and info that way. I know they kind of have a weird. Josh Davis said that they kind of have a weird kibosh that a lot of the players with the spring league right now aren't able to. They can't do any audio interviews. They can only do text interviews, which obviously doesn't work for a podcast, but it's very weird. I'm like, don't you want the spring league? I know we're kind of done with the spring league stuff, but I am just going to go on one quick rant about this. They're the weirdest thing in the world. I tweet them all the time. Everyone's blowing them up. They're so unresponsive to the people that support them. And it's very weird to me that we have a lot of writers, a lot of podcasts covering the spring league, tweeting at them, blowing them up, hyping them up, watching the games. And there's no the Dragons follow me. I have people follow me. I mean, not a lot. I'm not a big, a big name. I'm you couldn't like one of my tweets, the spring league. You got 13,000 followers. Give me a break, the spring league. Put some merch on the site. Get some money. I mean, but anyway, the point is, I guess they've told the players they can't do any audio right now, which seems very odd to me. But I get it.
Didn't I see a video clip of?
So Josh had one of the coaches on for just a hot second in audio, and I guess that was because Josh was a friend of his, Darius Bell with the Alphas. But yeah, they really have a kind of. It's just it's a weird vibe. I've talked with Josh about it. It's a weird vibe with that league, and I just think you don't get that many mentions. You probably have 10 bajillion from me. Let's show some love. I've emailed them, come on the podcast, talk about the podcast. Let's get players to stop spitting at each other and punching on the football field. Let's chat.
You were really on a soapbox about this penalty thing, but rightfully so.
He spit on another player during COVID-19.
I know. I'm not saying you're wrong for this at all. It's just, they need all the publicity they can get.
That's what I'm
saying. And maybe with more publicity and more ratings and blah, 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 maybe they'll stop charging the players to come out and play.
Just saying. I will say on the podcast, and I told Dorothy this, if they do announce a championship game, it's TBD right now. They've got 4 weeks at the Alamo Dome. That's in question. Week 4 might be moved because of some other events. If they announce a championship game, I'm going. I'm just saying it right now. I've already tweeted it. I'm going. We'll do the Markcast live from the Alamo Dome or whatever. I already told Dorothy, we're down. We're going.
I wish I could go with you, but
I know you're working.
I got work, and I've a little personal note. They told me today they totaled my car. Yeah. It's just. Yeah. I didn't get in an accident. Someone stole my bumper. Long story short, they totaled my car. So now I got to worry about buying a new car.
No, I know. I'm sorry, but we're gonna. I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna hype us up. We're gonna get some podcast plays, and we're gonna pay off your new bumper. So that'll be good.
pay off my new bumper. I'd have to get a new car now.
But yeah,
they totaled the car.
Yeah, we'll get it simmered down. What do we think about? We talked a little bit with James about this, about the Cowboys, about Garrett Gilbert potentially coming in. He used to be on one of the AAF teams, coming in and taking over Ben DiNucci, which that was the most brutal game on Sunday with the Cowboys versus.
They couldn't flex that thing out. They flexed. Look. They flexed in the Cardinals and Seahawks. They flexed that game in and put that in that spot. They couldn't get this game out. No one wanted to watch this game. No one wanted to watch this game.
No, I was like, "What are you talking about? Flexed out?" Yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, they flexed in the Cardinals and Seahawks, and that ended up being a great idea. But left the Eagles and Cowboys, I assume, because they still think America's team is the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry, just call Colin, man.
Dude, that was brutal. DiNucci was terrible. That was really. So I'm watching this. This is true. So it was like earlier in the game, like halftime, whatever. It was close. I think it was like 9-9 or whatever the score was. And all I had seen online, because like Josh Davis and Anthony, we got friends of the show. They're all Eagles fans, and then Jay is obviously a Cowboys fan. So a lot of the writers I'm following, they're all watching the game. Just how terrible it is. Like, this is the worst thing ever. This is so bad. Dorothy walks down. She goes, "Oh, wow, this is a great game. It's a close score." Which, I mean, it's fine. It's fine, Dorothy. But so I tweeted that and I got quite the riot. I go, "Yeah, my wife just walked down." She goes, "Oh, it's a close game. It must be good." Dorothy loves football.
To really win.
But Dorothy loves football. I'm just saying, she's all in. We watched the Spring League last night. She's all in. Dorothy loves football. Love the Eagles, Cowboys. And I think she wanted the Cowboys to win because they're underdogs, because they've lost all their quarterbacks.
So Garrett Gilbert and Cooper Rush apparently are the two guys that are being mentioned. Again, Jerry, just call Colin Kaepernick. Just do it. Just do it. Like Nike. Just do it.
I just don't get what you got to lose here. I mean,
you can win that division with Colin Kaepernick. You can win that division. What are we doing? What is Jerry doing?
I don't know. You could win that division with Bethel Thompson from the Aviators.
You could win that division with Reed Johnson. Let's be honest.
DiNucci, I got the. He's just a weird. It's just like, and it, like you hear some quarterback like Russell Wilson. That's a quarterback name, right? Colin Kaepernick. Ben DiNucci is not a quarterback name. I'm sorry.
It's not.
You just kind of know. Like Andy Dalton, not a quarterback name. I even know that.
Not at all.
No.
So also former alternative football league. Do you want to start calling them alternative football league players in the NFL?
Yeah.
Sergio Castillo made his second consecutive start for the Jets. The Jets, that are very crappy as well. Yeah. They are gunning for the number one pick in the upcoming NFL draft, guaranteed. They're trying at least to do that. I've got a prediction though.
Yep.
The Jets are going to beat the Patriots this week.
Wow. That would be huge.
Do you know why the Jets are going to beat the Patriots this week?
Because
it's because Bill Belichick is an evil genius. And do you know what Bill Belichick's going to do? Slowly but surely, as no one pays attention, the Patriots are going to tank the season and get the number one pick in the draft and take Trevor Lawrence from Clemson. Well, that's what's going to happen.
Well, let's time code this. And then we'll post this with when Jordan Talamuk takes the Lions to victory, and then when Bill Belichick at the end of the season, we'll circle back. That's
so let's talk about the yards he hit. He hit a 55-yard field goal. Castillo did.
Oh yeah.
One of the only bright spots for the Jets this season has been Castillo, and of course his final kick was blocked. That's fine. It was blocked. Yeah. You can't really fault that 100% on the kicker when his field goal is blocked, unless the trajectory. I didn't kick too much in school. I punted when I was in high school. I wasn't a place kicker, but I know that trajectory might have been a factor here. Who knows? But he hit a 55-yarder. That's saying something.
Well, he was the only points that they had. I mean, they were the only points they had. We watched half the game. We went to because I was watching. Oh, I was watching the Rams, and then we went to brunch, and they had on the Jets. I was like, "Oh, great! Like, I'm so glad we have this game on right now." Watching the Chiefs smoke the Jets. But yeah, no, he played good. I was tweeting it out. Aaron Castillo, Sergio Castillo, he was doing good. Aaron Castillo, sorry, that's my drone guy. I was like, why do I have that name on my head? Aaron Castillo flies drone for me. Sergio Castillo, sorry.
Sergio Castillo, yep.
Sorry.
And that's great for him. I'm glad the Jets have some kind of positive
something.
Not something. I'm grasping at straws to really describe the Jets year this year. And I have a lot of friends who are Jets fans that, they've heard the podcast from time to time. I don't know what to say.
It's bad. I don't want I don't want to watch a lot of the Jets, but watching them on because I sit there, they'd be like, "Oh, they got the pass. Okay, oh no, that's it." And they would come. I mean, it's just 3 and out. It's just crazy, So thank God they got. I tell you, XFL guys between you got Donald Parham and then you got Sergio Castillo. I mean, we're doing all right. Let's get Teamu in there and let's do a takeover.
Let's take over the XFL taking over the NFL, showing that these guys can actually play, except for Sherman Jones.
And then did you see this Hunter Niswander? I probably didn't pronounce that right. Speaking of Sharman Jones, he was a DC defender, and he's going to be playing for Dallas. So maybe
I did see that, and good luck to him. I know that punting is a very hard thing to do. I do hope that this is another bright spot for the Dallas Cowboys. It's hard watching some of these NFL teams labor through this season. Of course, we talked about it with Jay. This is a situation where we didn't have a preseason, so it's almost like some of these teams are piecemealing, their teams together. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say about this.
Well, yeah, Mark with the news hub, he seems high on them. He posted talking about how I guess their starting punter is going to undergo surgery for a muscle, and so they don't know if he's going to be available. He's recovering, and so they're going to promote him up from the practice squad, and he's going to be playing against the Steelers. Who do you take with the Cowboys versus the Steelers?
Take the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, clearly.
I mean, look, we're talking about the Steelers, and and it comes up to where you have to think about what they did at the trade deadline. Specifically, Avery Williamson. What a lucky man that guy is. He went from the 0-8 Jets to the 7-0 Steelers. Yeah. How lucky are you to go from the worst team in the NFL to the best team in the NFL?
I saw that photo he posted, like him hailing a cab or hitchhiking or whatever on his Instagram. Yeah, that was good.
That was good play. Also, our Seahawks getting Carlos Dunlap before the trade deadline expired. The all-time leader I think he's the all-time leader of sacks or tackles from Cincinnati, is now a Seattle Seahawk because Khalil Mack wasn't going anywhere. And maybe this will help shore up the defense from this. I mean, I think if Seattle had a better defense, they'd still be undefeated right now. They would still be undefeated right now because they've been able to stop the Cardinals. So Carlos Dunlap coming in. Also, you got Jamal Adams coming back from the Seahawks very soon. They're going to shore that thing up. And
did you see? I think it was Bobby Wagner tweeted, and he was like, "I do what the coach tells me to do. If the coach tells me blitz and tackle the quarterback, I'm going to do it." And so then he's like, "They told me to do it last week, and I did it." And I'm like, "Why don't you do that every week? Like, what's happening?"
Well, I mean,
defense all the time.
Sometimes you can't blitz a quarterback because you have to be in protection to cover a running back who's going out on a pass. Sometimes there's an HB wheel. There's a HB, end around, comes around. Halfback needs to be open for a pass. Running back needs to be open for a pass. And Bobby Wagner might need to cover him in pass coverage. So that's why you can't just blitz your linebacker every time. Otherwise, you'd put more people in the box. You'd run with a 2 tight end set and have 1 tight end, focus on Bobby Wagner. You can't always blitz Bobby Wagner. Despite the fact that he is a Madden overall 99 player, you can't always blitz Bobby Wagner.
I just Googled him because I was trying to find that tweet. The first question people ask, is Bobby Wagner a Hall of Famer? Not in the Hall of Fame. Well, clearly not. It's like, thank you, Google, for that one.
He might be.
Well, yeah, but not right now. I mean,
right now,
I was that's a dumb question to ask Google right now.
No one can say that right now. But, Bobby Wagner, Utah State University, he also has an intense collection of Ninja Turtles. True story. He's obsessed with Ninja Turtles.
You always think that these celebrities are going to be better than us, and then you find out that they got, like you got your NBA Jam. I mean, we all got. I got the Dragon.
I love my NBA Jam.
But that's what I mean. We all have our stuff. Bobby Wagner has his Ninja Turtles. That's good.
So anyway,
who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Raphael, of course. The smarmy, snarky. Who else would it be, man? Who else would it be?
Yeah, he had the scythes, right?
Yeah, the size, yeah.
Yeah, Michelangelo is definitely the worst, right? Can we agree with that?
I think so. I definitely think so. XFL bankruptcy case update.
Yeah.
Not too much on that front. Tell us what's going on with that.
Yeah, of course. There we go. Josh Davis, he's covering all this stuff. He is kind of a genius when it comes to covering all this stuff. He says that Alpha Entertainment, they got $1.5 million from Miami Air. The league had a charter contract with them, and the money was put into an escrow account because of COVID. They never happened, those flights and stuff. So a lot of this kind of cleaning up some of the stuff, but we're still waiting. I mean, there was another article on News Hub about Oliver Luck and Vince McMahon, and him paying for the lawsuit and all that. And so someone's coming. Oliver's coming for his money. So I'll be curious to see when that all kind of unfolds here. It's got to be soon, right?
Yeah.
Tax season's coming, right? End of the year, right? Don't you think by the
year's coming? They probably want to sew this thing up before the end of the year. Vince McMahon can write it off as a big L, or maybe Vince McMahon wants to extend it so he can get 2 years of claiming these losses on his personal tax. Who knows? Who knows what's happening?
Yeah. Vince is a smart guy, but I don't know about this one. I think there was a lot of questions. So,
speaking of the stuff that I know about, what is this video you posted from Facebook in here?
Oh, now this has okay. Well, I was going to ask you this first. I don't think we can play the audio because it's got the Game of Thrones theme song. Do you think we'll get flagged for that on YouTube? Okay, so Van the Man, our currently number one fan, fighting with Jack Stevens for the number one position, posted me this, and it's like a neti pot. It's not. It's like a lets the steam out of like.
It's like an attachment for your Instapot, but it's a dragon head.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this so I can find this in the video, and then I'm gonna add the video here while we talk about it. But it's like, it's the Game of Thrones music, and it's like, and then like the steam goes. And like it cuts back and forth. Like someone put a lot of time into like editing this clip. But Van personally texted me this, asked me if I needed a dragon for the kitchen, and then he also posted this in like a bunch of Facebook.
You even have it in Spot?
No, but I'm a Dragons fan.
I've got one.
I'm a Dragons fan, so maybe I would get an Instapot so I could get a dragon head.
I think the life changer, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think I would say it when if 20-year-old met me right now and said, "You're talking about Instapots on a podcast," 20-year-old would slap 40-year-old Paul and wonder why he's talking about Instapots. That thing is a life changer, man. That thing is a game changer. I got Nydia one. We got they had to sell like two for the. You got half one off. So basically 1 year for our birthday coming up soon.
Yeah, no, November 20th. I'm on it.
You're on it. I got her one also, so we both have matching Instapots. How sweet is that?
Well, that's remarkable, Paul. That is remarkable.
You're going to bring that up?
You should think about getting the Dragons thing. Think about getting the Dragons.
I'm not a Dragons fan. Why would I get the Dragons thing?
But so does it release Steam? I mean, what is it?
It's a safer way. So there's two different ways. I can't believe we're talking about this.
That's fine.
We're
at the end of the podcast. This is the diehards right now.
Yeah, there's two different ways to. They say when you have your recipe for Instant Pot, there's two different ways that they want you to release the steam depending on the recipe. There's a natural release, and then there's a quick release. And this looks like it's a quick release function to where the thing with like pressure cooking that always freaks me out is like I don't want to point the steam in my face and have it burn me because steam burn is a lot worse than scalding hot water burn, right? So this thing looks like it avoids having that hot spray anywhere near something that steam would ruin. So this looks like a cool little attachment. I don't think I would buy it based on. I don't think Game of Thrones is that great. But yeah,
someone's birthday's coming up. Maybe you want this for your birthday. Maybe if there's a fan out there that wants to DM me if you want to give Paul a birthday gift, and we'll get him. We'll do a GoFundMe. It can't be more than like $12, right? I mean, what is this?
Right, but it'll take probably like. This looks like it's one of those videos that comes out of China.
Yeah. Oh,
it's like FCF King. What is it? FGF key. I don't know.
I had to close the link because I think Van was DMing me on Facebook or something, and it was making noises.
Does Van not realize that we are currently recording the XFL Markcast here?
So we'll I'll have the video up here, but yeah, we can't have the music. We just imagine like it's a lot of fun.
What else did you want to talk about?
That was all my news. They did say I thought you would appreciate. They called on the TSL game when the guy punched the guy. It was like the third play of the game. He punches the other guy, and they said this is not Friday Night Smackdown. This is the Spring League. Thought that was cool.
Clever tie there. Very clever tie.
Yeah, I mean, WWE needs some ratings. Maybe the Spring League can give the WWE some ratings.
Maybe, possibly. I don't know. I think the WWE right now with that Roman storyline is doing pretty good. Everybody's. I know you don't like Roman. I get
Jay in the vest now? I saw a promo. Is he in the vest? I haven't watched.
I didn't see the promo recently, but maybe, I don't know, because as you know, like if you're into wrestling history, like I definitely am. Paul Heyman used to manage a team called the Samoan SWAT team. Yep. And maybe that's what they're trying to redo here. It's probably the most compelling story in WWE. But hey, maybe they'll call that quarterback and he can throw around some punches and take some bumps. Who knows?
Yeah. But it was just the funniest thing in the Spring League. Like they pull them, and then they're like, "Well, but wait, this is actually like a practice league, and we don't actually have enough players, so we need to like put him back in the game." They did, because at the end of the game, I'm like, "Why is he back in the game?" And the announcer's like, "In case you were wondering, he's back in the game because we didn't have enough players to play the game."
Incredible.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we want to thank you for listening to the XFL Markcast. Again, xflshow.com/merch to get your merchandise, and also xflshow.com/review to give us a review. And once you give us a review, read a direct message, let them know. We'll send you a mask. 5 reviews per week, we'll get a mask. So we'd love to send you out a mask, keep you safe during this pandemic.
And thanks again, James Larsen, coming on, talking the Spring League. Really appreciate that. And we'll have him on again. Great insights. And I really appreciate that. So thanks again, James.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.